back. I hope you had fun putting the center of your quilt together and putting all the sashing on with Debbie. Now we're ready to start finishing the quilt, and we're going to start our borders today. Today we're going to start with our first border. This border is super easy. When you were making this sashing, you should have 4 flying geese left over. You're going to use this in your first border. To make your first border, it's simply the flying geese, and then you're going to take fabric 8 strips, and you're going to sew it to each side. That is your first border. Now, when you're attaching this border, you want to make sure, let's come down here because this is your first border here. You want to make sure that that flying goose lines up because that's what completes your square. And that'll be the same thing all the way around on all 4 sides. So that's all there is to the first sashing. Now the second sashing, again, you're going to have pieces that were left over from your sashing, and you should have 8 of these, which is just nothing but 2 strips sewn together. That's your first component. Your second component is going to be a large flying goose. Now, our designer, she switched up how you do this flying goose, but it's super easy. These are not oversized. When you make them, they will be true to size, so you're not going to be trimming it down. And that's what your flying goose looks like, and it's fabric 11, and then your rectangle is fabric 6. So you're going to start out with your rectangle, and then you're going to put your square on it. And you're just going to line it up with the corner, and then you're going to draw a line from corner to corner. Then you're going to sew that diagonal. But here's a tip, is you want to sew just a hair to this side of the line so that you can see it a little better. We're going to pretend that this is our pencil line right here. This is our sewing machine needle. We're going to go along the side of it because you don't want that stitching to go to this side. You always want it to be on this side. And the reason you want that is because then when you fold this back, you want it to cover everything. If you happen to go across the line, then you end up with something that looks like that. So you always want to err by going a little bit this side. Once you know it's in the right place, you can trim off the excess, press it. Then you're going to take the other side and you're going to put this on. Again, there is my line. I'm going to sew it and flip it. And that is a sew and flip flying geese. You're going to need 4 of these. And I think the reason she went to this method was because to do the other method, you would have needed more fabric. But since you only have to make 4, it's not hard. Just be careful when you do it. So we've got this component, this component. Now the next thing you're going to make, and again, it's that same sew and flip. We're going to start, this is a double sew and flip, and you're going to have your fabric 8, and then your squares are fabric 11. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to draw your line. You're going to sew a little bit towards this side. Flip it over. Make sure it covers. Then you can cut the excess off. You're going to need 4 of these. Then there is a sew and flip corner. And again, you're using the same fabrics. The only difference is that we're only going to put 1 square on it. And we're just going to do again the same thing, line it up, sew the line, and flip it over. With this, you're going to be making a set. And so you want them to be opposite. like this. And you're going to make 2 sets of these. So you'll have 2 that are angled this way and 2 that are angled the other way. So that is your 4th thing that you'll need for your border. Now, to start with the border, we're going to start with the flying goose, and then we're going to take these pieces and follow in your pattern so that you can make sure you get these. And we're going to put this together. This part is the same whether you're doing the top or the sides. But on the sides, you're going to use your sew and flip corners. You got to get this going the right direction. Is you're going to sew this onto each side. And that becomes your side border. So you see here, see there's the end of it. So there's no triangle there. There's your triangle, there's your strip, there's your flying goose, and then it continues down. Now, what is different on the top is you're going to not use these 2, then you're going to put the double on the top and bottom. So you can see here, here's the double one, and that's got the 2 triangles. You have your strips, your flying goose, your strips, and your double. Now, when you are sewing these on, you want to make sure right here, this is a critical point right here. If you want to get a close-up of it, is you want to make sure that the points of your flying goose meet. So you'll line that up, and then you can go through and pin everything else out. Nothing else has to line up. It's just that point. So that completes your second border. My cameraman just pointed out, and again, follow your diagram in your pattern. I put this piece on upside down. So make sure you're getting everything angled the right way. It's easy to flip the other way. Just follow the picture. They give good instructions and showing you what this strip should look like. And then you can get your first 2 borders done. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to prep for our 3rd border. We're not actually going to be putting it together. Debbie will be back with you next month, and she will help you to put this border together. The first thing you're going to make are these large blocks. And you're going to have your fabric 6 and your fabric 10. And it is just simply sewing the 2 strips on the end, and you're going to make 8 of these. So once you make 8 of these, just fold them up neatly, save them for next month. Now also in this border, there are actually 2 blocks that you're going to make. The only difference between these 2 blocks is your fabric. And the pattern is really simple, and it lets you know which it is. This is your block that you're going to be making. This is one colorway. Now, this block here, it's just smaller, but again, it's that same 9 patch that we've been working on. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to make 4 half square triangles, and those are your corner pieces. And then your center piece is the same as this fabric here. Then you're going to take 4 flying geese. See, it's no new techniques. It's the same thing you've been doing all along. Yeah. Thought I had him upside down a minute. Got to make sure your geese are flying the correct way. So you're going to make this block this colorway, and you're going to make 4 of these. And then you're going to make, see, this is just our 9 patch in which we're going to sew our rows together, or sew our blocks into rows. And then we sew our rows together, and you're going to make 4 of these. So once you get all 8 of these blocks done and all 8 of these done, just carefully put them away. And next month, Debbie will show you what you need to do in order to put it together, and she'll finish up the borders with you. This is my last video with you for London Blues. I hope you've had as much fun as I have, and I hope to see you again in another Patchwork Plus block of the month. Happy sewing!